Peter Parfitt and welcome to part 3, the concluding part of my video review of the new Festool Domino DF 700. In this part we're going to do the final glue up of the frame which I showed you in part 2. I'm going to show you the workbench standing up on the frame that I've made, and then I'm going to come to the conclusions and tell you what I really think of this tool. So let's get into that straight away. Okay, right, we're ready to do the glue up now, and because of the nature of this thing I can only do this in one take. So if I make any mistakes and say anything naughty, I do apologise in advance. So I've got my glue. It's not really Elmer's glue, but I use the Elmer's glue pot and I keep refilling it. Now this is such a simple process, I'll tell you what. When I was building our barn, which is quite a big building, I had to do hundreds of mortises and tenons on 4x2s that I use for all the frame. It's a pretty substantial barn, and I think I've made quite a reasonable job of it. But it took forever using the old-fashioned sort of mortising machine and then cutting the tenons themselves. That took a lot of effort. So I think that this method of going about things is so much quicker, not least because you're actually taking the tool to the piece of work. Now I had some of my bits of wood for the barn I built were 20 feet long, and trying to do a mortise in the end of those, I had it going in through one door of the workshop and out the other. So it was quite a convoluted process, but we got there in the end. If I had to build another barn, I would definitely use the Domino 700. It is absolutely perfect for it, and it will be plenty strong enough. These mortises that I'm doing now are 50 millimeters deep. I could use 70 millimeters on each side. Yeah, some of those dominoes we've got here are 140 millimeters long, so plenty of scope for doing things really well. Okay. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Now, for speed, I'm not going to faff around putting loads and loads of glue on the dominoes. I'm just going to go straight in and assemble it the easy way. It would help if you put face to face, just in case there's any variation in thickness. I said I could only do this in one take. Oh well, never mind. There we go, we're nearly there. I need my rubber mallet, which I put down somewhere special so I could grab it easily. Here we go. And with any luck, part A should fit in part B, and away we go. Now that is so good already, so tight, that I don't think I'm going to need to leave the clamps on it for any length of time. I'll just use the clamps to tighten it up. Get another one of those. These are wonderful clamps. These are made by Bessie, a brilliant German company, and I really, really like them. Now let's check if they're square. Oh, spot on. That's absolutely. How can that be square straight away? Oh well, that's Festool for you, I suppose. Absolutely spot on. Yeah. Okay, so there we go. I will take the clamps off now. They don't need to stay on there. You could put some nails through here, with the nail gun, if you were worried about it. But I think this is probably good enough. So there we go. That's the first one. Well, that's all of the gluing up done for now. The frame nearest to us is the one that you saw me glue up, and I've done the others quietly, like a fairy overnight. All it needs for me to do now is to do the various cross-member pieces, and I had an idea yesterday that I would stick in some dominoes glued in to the cross pieces, and then these would go dry into domino slots between the legs and be screwed in from the far side so that the whole thing can be taken apart. But I may change my mind. I don't know. I may glue it up. I'll see. Well, I'm nearly there. I've been putting the new Domino DF 700 through its paces, and I've used it to build the supporting frame for my new bench. And it's nearly done. Just got some cross bracing to do in the middle, but I'll do that separately. What I now need to do is find someone really strong to help me turn it up the right way. So I'll see if I can find someone. The top's not finished, so don't get too excited. Let's see what happens. Well, here's what I've been doing with the new Domino. I've been building the frame that goes underneath my new bench. New bench is looking reasonable. It's far from being finished. I've got racking to go along here at the back, which will stand about 6 inches above the height of the bench, and there'll be these little void spaces here where one can lose tools and little screws and things and curse and do things that woodworkers do from time to time. I've got two lovely vices, the tail vice here and also the main vice, both made by Veritas in Canada, and they're absolutely lovely, really nice. So there we go. All of that is thanks to my two Dominoes, but especially the new Domino 700. Right, so we need to do our conclusions now. I must say it's been great fun doing this video, and I admire your patience for managing to get through to the end of part 3, so thank you for that. What do I think of this machine? I'll tell you the truth. There's absolutely no point not saying what I feel. This is one of the most brilliant, well-engineered, rugged, safe to use and joyful machines to use that I've ever had in my hands. It is absolutely fantastic. It really is a work of art. The controls are far simpler, better laid out than they were on the original Domino, and yeah, it's just a great machine. It really is. On the downside, there are two things. First of all is the expense. It's, probably £1,000 in the UK, just short of £1,000. I don't know what the price in the States will be, but it's a lot of money. So you've got to be able to justify buying something with that price tag. Well, I'll tell you now, if you earn money from your woodworking and you need to do mortising of any kind, then this machine will actually save you money in the long run, because you'll get more throughput, more productivity, and it's a joy to use. You'll come home at the end of the day feeling great. Now, that was on the downside of the price. The other downside is the manual. The manual is a bit thin, and those of you in the United States, or those who've managed to find the United States American supplemental manuals for things like the original Domino 500, the TS55 saw, and one or two other items, the American supplemental manuals are brilliant, and I just wish that Festool themselves would get their act together and produce a more classy manual. All the information is there in their manual, but it's just not quite good enough, as far as I'm concerned. But still, not to worry. I'd like to thank you again for listening and watching, I'd like to remind you how much I'm grateful to Warren at Toolfest in Woking here in the UK for getting this machine to me very quickly, because I only had a small window of opportunity to make this video before I had to go on to my next project. I'll try and let you all know how I get on with the bench at some point, and I'll try and tell you some little nifty things that I've discovered about other Festool tools as well. So thank you again, take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.